Hey everybody, this is Devin, and today I'm going to share my secrets for how to deal with nightmare clients. Did you know that Jack Torrance, the main character in The Shining, had actually been hired when he was younger to write some copy for the Overlook Hotel's brochure? They weren't really happy with the results of that brochure, and that's why they invited him back as caretaker years later, knowing that he would go mad. It's a true story. My mission here in this video is to keep you away from those clients who will drive you mad. The first strategy for staying away from nightmare clients is to disqualify people early. The easiest way to get away from a nightmare client is to never have them as a client at all. I was trying to work out a deal with this prospect. I understood what he wanted me to do, and we had come together on terms, except for one. I wanted to be paid a deposit before I started work on the project. He thought it would be good enough to get a check into the mail before I started the project. I offered credit card as a payment option, so he could have paid immediately if he had wanted to. But for checks, I make sure those clear, and I actually have the cash on hand before I consider that a deposit. He didn't really care for this. He told me how I was being unprofessional and that if you work for big clients like he does, Microsoft and whoever else, that you can't do stuff like this. You just have to take them at their word. I'm not sure exactly how that applied to this situation because he was not Microsoft or anyone of that sort. I did not take any of this personally. That was what he wanted from a service provider. It just happened to be something that I wasn't comfortable with. So I told him I wouldn't be able to help and offered to try to find someone else for him if he wanted. Who knows how it actually would have panned out, but if I see a red flag like that, especially in the early days, I'm going to take that as an omen of things to come. That's sort of the preferable strategy. If you can do that every time, then do it. Just don't take on the clients that are going to be problematic. Occasionally, though, someone's going to slip through. For these type of clients, the next best thing to eliminating them beforehand is to make sure you have protected yourself with your contract. Number one, make sure you always have a contract. If you don't, you are setting yourself up for failure. And it's not because you can't take them to court, it's because you haven't put your heads together and set expectations for how this job is going to go. So you really can't have any expectations about what's going to happen here. That puts you at a disadvantage because even if you do collect a deposit beforehand, you're still at some point going to be doing some work that you haven't yet been paid for. For smaller jobs, I usually take half up front and then half at the close of the project when the project is delivered. That means for the first half of my work, I've already been paid at the beginning, but for the last half, I have not been paid. If those expectations are not clear and something goes wrong in that last half, that is an issue of lack of communication around expectations, then I don't really have any recourse and I've already done the work. I dealt with a prospect recently, and I could tell through the negotiation process that communication was very slow.
And then he sees what's inside.
September 29th, 1906.
A message written nearly 107 years ago.
And there are always, throughout the course of the project, some things that need to be communicated to let the project move forward. I didn't think this was out of malice. I just thought this project is one of many things this client is working on, but at the same time, I knew that I was promising certain milestones that I could only meet if they were also communicating with me in a timely manner. When I prepared the contract for this client, I made sure that I was clear about that expectation that they would also be required to communicate and to give me the materials I needed in a timely fashion. That really saved my bacon on this one because what I predicted actually came to pass. We started the project. I could not get any of the materials from them so that I would be able to build the project, and we ended up having to terminate the contract. Fortunately, I had built in a way that I could do that. So that's like your second best option there. Unfortunately, you can't always predict how things are going to go wrong. If you get into a situation where something is going wrong on a project, you were already in the deal, so you can't disqualify the client at this point. You've already signed the contract and it doesn't have a way to protect you from this particular thing that's happening. Your next best bet is to try to fulfill what you've promised in the contract as quickly as possible. Once you finish this contract, you don't have to work with this client ever again, because now you know the particular brand of pain that is going to cause you. The nice thing about handling it this way is, even though you're probably going to suffer a little bit to push out that project, at least you delivered what you promised, even though it might not be under the exact circumstances you would have liked. Sometimes, though, even that's not possible, and you've got to go to a sort of last resort option. I could imagine this happening to me if I had not built that protection into my contract with the client who was slow to communicate. Your next best option is to just talk to them about it. Let them know that you're not confident you can complete the project, either in a way that's going to live up to their standards or on time, or whatever the case may be given the circumstances you're in. Make sure to stress to them that what you don't want at this point is to compromise anything that they have going on in their business. You don't want to compromise their profitability, or you don't want to compromise a delivery date on a critical feature or a critical product that you're supposed to be working on.
What happened to the August 28th files?
What?
Mel wanted them tonight. There were twice as many. He's gonna go ballistic. Where are they?
I think I checked them for the September 3rd conversations.
What?
Where'd you put them?
I divided them into 2 piles. Is that wrong?
Oh my God, I have to redo all that. What are you, some kind of idiot?
Just make sure they understand that your concerns are centered around their needs and serving them the best, and that for the reason that you have, whatever that may be, you don't feel like you can do that at this point on this project. This is not going to look great, and it's definitely not going to feel great for you or for the client. I speak from experience here, but it's much better to approach things this way than to deliver an inferior product that's disappointing, or to not deliver on time and not to have ever set that expectation beforehand. The last tip I have for you is to try to develop empathy for your clients. In reality, you're not the hero of the story, and the client isn't the antagonist just trying to keep you from getting to what you want. You're really both trying to achieve a similar goal. If you can try to approach these difficult situations with an eye toward understanding what the client is experiencing, what they're going through, and the problems they're having, you can sort of eliminate nightmare clients by just understanding that really probably there aren't many clients out there who are nightmares. They're just trying to get what they need for their business, and also trying to juggle everything else they're having to juggle at that moment. I could have easily seen things from only my perspective and gotten angry at any or all of these clients or prospects, but that doesn't really help me or them. Instead, I'd like you to focus on what you can do in the future to make sure all your engagements go more smoothly. Thanks for watching, and may all your clients be beautiful and wonderful and leave you as happy customers. I'll talk to you in the next one.